this little brushstroke means is this expressive, like, business.
Or affective. For me, it's the affective territory, having an encounter with the affective territory. I just see unlimited possibility.
When you conceive of all your actions, even down to the smallest level, as having an impact on the world, and not reflecting something that's already happened, but instead, like, it's not a second order kind of thing. It's not what does it mean. It's actually making something. It's actually producing something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's the root of this whole anxiety of influence problem. Is like the person who's afflicted with it cannot see beyond their expressive worldview. They're everything to them is pure reflection. Every object and every action just reflects some meaning that already exists, and they're so overcome at what their brushstroke is going to mean in the context of Caravaggio
mm-hmm.
and Pollock and whatever.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything, like, that's the ultimate thing, is like, does that, put food in people's mouths? Does that, like,
right.
Increase, like, gender equality or whatever, like,
right. Does that help one's life to be surging with adrenaline in the studio in that way? No wonder there's these myths and the pathos of the artist. It's like, really? I don't want artists to be so crippled by this act of creating. Like, let's relax. Let's breathe into this history. Let's see possibility here, expansion. Like, let's see an expanded field. That contact and encounter between brushstroke and audience, so to speak, like, yeah, what's there can be breathed into and expanded and can generate. And it doesn't have to be this constriction of blood vessels, this, up and down of the adrenaline machine, because that's not going to help artists continue to produce. It's actually going to, artists as social machines are going to burn out. They're just going to burn out. And I care so much about artists and their, I really believe, well, I believe anyone's an artist and anyone can create, so I really believe in the productive value of an encounter with affective territory or space.
Well, another instance of these two levels is like affect and feeling. It's like, they're very explicit. An affect is not like, it's not a feeling, it's not an emotion.
No, it's not.
It's not even like something you're conscious of.
Right.
And an affect has no meaning. Feelings are like, this expression of meaning,
right,
of qualities. But affects are, possibly unconscious and possibly, systemic and not personological, the way
right,
feelings and emotions are.
right.
But
it's almost an ungraspable trace,
The one argument or sort of detail I can remember in Spinoza's writings about this difference between expressive and productive modalities or whatever is that he talks about two conceptions of God. He says, like, every theology is total and complete bullshit because they're taking an arbitrary property or set of properties that they find in the world, like goodness or perfection or justice or whatever, all human projections on the world, and they're picking out an arbitrary set of them and attribute it to some pre-existing entity, and that's ridiculous. He says that this idea of God having properties, like every religion, every theology, you can ask them and they'll have a set of sacred properties that define the essence of God. And he says that's total and complete bullshit. Like, every property that you're able to experience is in God, because
right,
you are an expression of existence, of matter, and so all of it is it, like nature itself is God, and so
God is the great projection screen in my mind.
every quality, every property, every aspect that you can experience is, God. There's not like
Right.
he's.
What do you want to experience in God? You want to fear God? You want God to be all love or all energy or pantheism or atheist? Really, it's a projection screen. It's a projection screen of your own desires, drives, impulses, fears.
There's some quote that if you could ask a triangle what was,
It's God.
the essence of God, he would say that God is eminently triangular, and it's like, duh, God isn't good or bad.
Right.
He's all of the things you could possibly say about him, because what you say is like a result of existence,
Right.
like what you say, like
God is what you want him to
you are a
be.
human, you are an
Right.
organism, you are made of matter, you exist in the universe. Like, if you just identify nature and God, if you say all matter that exists is God, there is no person, there is no ego to him, there's no face, he doesn't pre-exist, it's not even a he has no gender, it's just it. Whatever exists is God, Like, this stuff right here, these atoms, like, all of this, and we are made of it. That we say, like, we are made of stardust, which we literally are. Like, it's saying.
I love, though, that God is such a charge for us, because we might say, oh, I'm an atheist, and I've got all those reasons why. But then, it's, oh, fuck, oh, God, when it's like a bad time or it's an orgasm. It's like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. And it's like, wow, for something that we've all decided to completely dismiss has such an unbelievable charge. And that's basically a real way of seeing, yeah, it's like seeing an artwork as, a text of history, and seeing that, eminent charge of a God territory or God box or a God voice or a God lens throughout all that we do, regardless of whether we're atheist, pantheist, or, really true believers. In Christ, Lord Almighty. Like, I really feel that the God, like history, is a projection screen. Like, what do you want to see in there? How do you want to see your life? How do you want to play your life? How do you fast forward, rewind, and pause in your life? What do you want is what you'll see in history. What you'll see in God is what you fear, what you want.
So the thing with Spinoza, and the reason why he had to go about his work in such a logically propositional and demonstrative way, the geometrical method, as it's called, is because, like, once you read it and experience that thought, it will become clear that we're so wrapped up and conditioned in an expressive worldview that sees things in terms of meaning. What do they mean? Oh, God, I can't put my brush to the canvas because I don't know if I'll make it mean the right thing.
Right.
Seeing as Caravaggio and Pollock came before
Right.
me. and to him, that's, like, irrational, and, like, kind of the root of your own suffering is, like, this expressive worldview where you see things as meaning things, and you gotta mean the right things, and it's like,
But you're always talking to me about.
So once you read Spinoza, it's like, basically, it's like, when they say, sweeping out the cobwebs or something like that, it's like fucking, like, it's the best thing I know in the world to, like, clean out your brain, like, if you could actually read the ethics, like, then that'd probably be, like, the only book you really needed to read, and, like, it would probably like make your life a whole lot simpler and more, like, and better, which is odd, but
Okay, well, we're gonna
reduce philosophy to
during this
therapy.
commercial break, you're gonna have to go read Ethics, okay?